So here's what's so interesting about this offseason. We see what they're doing. We applaud what they're doing. We maybe even think that they're doing it a year late. But we also acknowledge that they're not getting better. In fact, they're getting worse while the rest of their division gets better. So how would you grade this offseason so far for the four? It's early, but just through the first week of free agency, what they've done versus what other teams have done, how would you grade how would you grade it?
Iggy, I hear you. I cannot give them better than a C. What about you?
I can't give them more than a D.
Okay.
I'm sorry. They just haven't added much. The best things they've done is get rid of certain players.
Okay. There's a big difference between a C and a D. Let's talk about it for a moment.
Sure.
Okay. Because I want to be serious about this.
Yeah.
A D is really bad.
Yeah.
Now I never got a D in my life, so I know with this, I never really got a C. So a C you pass. You got a D?
No, C. You always tell people on our show that I got a C+ in dinosaurs. How many times?
I'm sorry, in dinosaurs. All right. Iggy, can you pass with a D?
No.
You can't. Okay.
No.
At Lafayette College, the reason we had numbers. We didn't have letter grades. So I give them a pass because they got rid of the two excess bodies. Yeah. And they still, on defense, as bad as it is, they still have a pretty good secondary, Iggy. They do.
Yes, they do.
They do. So I give them a squeaky pass. Why do you give them essentially you're flunking them?
Yeah, I can't think of a team that has taken a bigger step back than the Niners this offseason. Okay. I can't think of a team. I mean, they have really, on paper, gotten a lot worse. Yeah, I mean, the two offensive linemen they lost, the two DBs they lost, the linebacker they lost. They have got, I mean, it's fine to gut the whole D line, but you haven't added anyone. When they add someone, it's a guy who's basically, well, he's pretty good on special teams, or he's on a 1-year deal. Everyone's very cheap. That's very surprising to me. And going into the offseason, everyone was talking about maybe they'll sign this starting center, maybe they'll sign a starting line. They're not signing any starters. So it's hard to say that they can. It's hard for them to turn around and tell fans like, "Hey, we're still in this though. We still got Bosa, we still got McCaffrey." No, you still got the team that went 6-11 last year.
Okay,
I don't know.
Let me be the devil's advocate.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you went 6-11, but you had a lot of injuries.
Sure.
You really, it's not representative of how good you were. How do you respond to that?
What makes you think you're not going to have those issues this year?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you have issues on your team, offensive line, defensive line. You haven't addressed them at all. You signed a tight end. That wasn't an issue at all. You still have Jake Moody. Look, here's the thing. Just the first week of free agency isn't going to determine your season. They could have a great draft and have a really good season, but just based on this 1 week, they got worse. And when you get worse, it's hard to have a passing grade.
Okay. And
again, in the chat, if any team got worser than the 49ers, please point them out. I'd love to know.
And I'd like to point out, this is not the final exam. There's still more free agency and there's still the draft. So we're only grading them as of March 12th. Call it the quarter. We used to get quarterlies at Lafayette College, not even midterms. We're not even at midterms yet. Iggy, we were taking so many tests. I was always taking tests.
Were you on quarters or semesters?
At Lafayette, I was at semesters. At Stanford, I was on quarters. And my field was the novel. I was reading all the time because the quarters went so fast.
UCLA's quarters. It's tough to be an English major in the quarter system.
Yeah, it's for science and math, right?
I think so too.
Yeah,
so you can just go through as many as possible.
Yeah.
It
was hard.
Yeah. Greg Flores says, "Hey Grant, do you think the Niners should draft best player available? And if so, what are the top 3 positions needed in your opinion?" I don't think they have that luxury this year. I think they've been so bad in the draft and they've mismanaged their roster so much. They have to take an offensive lineman or a defensive lineman, one or the two. I think they put themselves in this position.
I agree. And I want to come back to the Super Bowl. Philadelphia won it because they had better line play on both sides.
Correct.
Simple as that.
Yep.
Simple as that.
That was
The
the
other
game.
team had the better quarterback. And it shows that the 49ers need to change their thinking
Mhm.
because the way I interpret Kyle Shanahan is I can outsmart you.
Mhm.
I have more brains and finesse. And what Sirianni is saying, you can outsmart me, but I can kick your ass.
Mhm. All that finesse you have on your offensive and defensive lines, we will run you over.
We'll run you over.